lots of incentive trips, right? And a Porsche in the industry. Like this is big. And she's got a heart of gold. I've watched her on so many trainings. She is the most incredible trainer. And I am so excited to introduce my friend Jen to today so you can get some value from her. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, Leah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I always make this joke, but I paid her to say that, right? Leah, thank you. That was incredible. I loved your presentation. And girl, I got to give you a shout out to the order form. Can I get some snaps for the order form? I'm sorry. If anyone contacts me from the team and says, I did a pop-up and no one ordered, I always say, really, what happened when you handed them the order form? That's when I know that they didn't give an order form because you guys, it is like a social contract. Anyway, that is a whole separate training. But Leah, that was amazing. Did y'all get so much value out of that training? Can you please give her so many hearts and so much love? And I loved also that you said to just know two to three things about a product, like less is more. You don't want to go in there being this big expert because then people look at you and they're like, oh, I could never do what Leah does. Leah knows everything and I couldn't learn all that. I'm not an esthetician. Don't know a lot. Just go in there, like, hey, this works great. I know a couple of facts. And then the other thing I loved is the jokes. You got to make the jokes. So I'm gonna share y'all one of my jokes that I use every single pop-up. I introduce myself and I say, how I love the skincare. It's changed my skin. I'm 82 years old. And then I pause for a second and they realize and it always gets a laugh. So add in some crazy age for yourself and that will get the laugh. But Leah, again, thank you, thank you. All right. So I'm going to talk to you today about something that happens after the pop-up. And it doesn't really, I feel like it doesn't get a lot of attention. And for me, it's one of the biggest reasons that I've been able to keep a stable business for so long. And it's customer care and not in a fluffy, nebulous way like check in with your customers. It's like a real income producing system. And I'm going to teach it to you today. It's called the 1-2-2 method. So write that down, 1-2-2 method. Because what actually matters is not the first order. It's the lifetime value of the customer. Because most people are really focused on the next sale. But one customer, and by next sale, I mean getting a new sale from somewhere. But one customer who's cared for properly for years can remain very, very loyal. They'll refer friends, they'll host events for you, and they'll stay loyal even when the market gets crowded. Because right now, we have kind of an advantage, right? There aren't a whole ton of Remon reps yet here in the US, but that is coming. And before you know it, let us know in the chat if you have a Remon rep who's not on your team that lives in your town or that lives a couple towns over, because nothing got me more committed to customer care than having a new rep come in the next town over and all of a sudden we have like 100 mutual friends and I'm sweating, right? So please learn from my experience and please maintain great relationships with your customers. At my last company, I was there for 12 years. And by the end of it, I was consistently getting 8,000 a month in reorders. So what would 8,000 a month in reorders look like for you? And I got to tell you, it was skincare, but it wasn't good skincare. It wasn't skincare that gave results. It was clean skincare, but it didn't do anything for your face. Like we have the number one skincare that changes faces. So that number for you over years is going to be much higher than it was for me. So let's talk a little bit again about customer care, and I'm going to give you a comparison that we all understand. You can buy Korean skincare online. You can go to Sephora online and you can buy subpar Korean skincare. So it probably doesn't work very well. It probably wasn't made in Korea. It's probably some Americanized version. And you check out, and then what happens? Does anybody from Sephora contact you to thank you for your order? I mean, maybe they send you an order confirmation, thanks for your order, you're not going to hear from them again, right? That's it. No one follows up. No one checks to make sure your box arrived, that the products were all in there, that maybe, was the box damaged? Nobody asks if you're using the products correctly. I mean, we have a huge opportunity with what we do because we have a system. So we get to teach people that system. And as we teach that system, we are setting ourselves up as the expert, as their consultant. We are their representative, and they're looking to us for help and for information. So Sephora online sells you a product and they move on. So what we do is very, very different. And that relationship that we're building that keeps people coming back, that is really what people are kind of buying, right? They're buying you because they can get skincare anywhere. Yes, our skincare is incredible. And yes, it's the best, but they're buying you. So they want to get a little bit of you. And this is where the 1-2-2 follow up method comes in. And this is the backbone of how I take care of my customers. So 1 stands for day 1. Okay, write that down. The first touch, the first time you're going to reach out to somebody is 1 day after they place the order. Now, you can also do it the same day. It is the first touch, very, very fast. This is before the box even arrives. And you might be thinking, well, why would you reach out to them before the box even gets there? It's to, again, build that relationship and to recognize them. I see you. You placed an order from me. You spent money with me. That is very meaningful to me, and I am appreciative. Now, I call people. I'm crazy old fashioned. You can send voice memos and you can send texts. I pick up the phone because for me, like Leah said, if I had to survive on social media, I'd be broke. That's My customers are people that I know for the most part. So I do call and I say thank you. And I let them know that I appreciate their trust, that I'm excited for them. And I also tell them a little bit about what they ordered. Now, sometimes they order before speaking to me, right? So maybe they get the oil cleanser, but they don't get the snow enzyme. And you don't want to have oil residue on your face. You want to get this stuff off. So I tell them the system that I use, I tell them the steps, and we talk through what they purchased. Sometimes we need to add a few extra items to what they purchased. If I have them on hand and they're local, I'll bring it over. They can Venmo me. Sometimes we can catch an order. Your team leader can go through customer service and say, oh my gosh, can you add these items to the order? They usually can if it's within 1 day. That's why we're getting in touch fast. And you would not believe how many people add items to that very first time that I reach out. So, also during the first touch is when I say to them, take a before picture. And I explain what that before picture looks like. It's going to be their face facing a window with the light coming in. Whatever time you take the before picture facing that window, you're going to take the after picture. I tell them to take the before picture with no skincare. So if wash with whatever cleanser you use, have the neutral expression, take the photo. The after picture is going to be the first after picture will be 5 days after using Remon, and that's your first comparison. And again, same window, same time of day, same neutral expression. So the before picture automatically creates the expectation in their mind that there's going to be an after picture, right? That plants the belief that this is going to work. Okay. So the second touch is 2 weeks later. So, and ask your questions in the chat, by the way, and I'll come after this is over, I'll circle back to the chat and I will answer the questions there. So please ask questions there. So the second touch is 2 weeks later. So that's the first two of the 1-2-2. And this is where I check, did the box arrive safely? Was anything damaged, right? Not usually, but it's good to know. And most importantly, have they actually taken the products out of the box and started using them? So my son just walked in. His piano teacher is a customer of Remon, and he had been going there, a couple times. He goes every week. And he said, that box is still sitting in her hallway. The box is still sitting. He kept reporting back to me that she hadn't used the products yet. She's actually not my customer. So no shame to the person who works with her, but she hadn't used them yet. So people intend to start and then they don't. So this 2-week call saves customers who maybe would have quietly fallen off, who wouldn't have taken the products out of the box for maybe even months, right? So you just want to check in and then they'll have questions about the system. If they have used the products, maybe they're going through a purge. I checked in with my friend Noreen. It was about 2 weeks. I said, "Hey, how are you doing with it?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, my skin is sticky and it's itchy. And so I stopped using it. I'm obviously allergic to it." And I said, "Oh my gosh, Doreen, I was the same way. My skin was itchy and I thought I was allergic to it. I didn't know." And she didn't know until I told her that that is part of the skin cell renewal cycle, that as we speed that up faster, we might get pimples, redness, itching, tingling, a tight feeling, right? That is a classic skin cell renewal side effect. So I told her, I said, "Oh my gosh, no, just push through," right? So when I called her on the other follow up that I'm about to talk about, she had been using it consistently. But if I hadn't called her at that 2-week mark, she would have been done. Maybe she would have given it to her neighbor or her sister-in-law and just said, "I'm allergic." Okay. So actually, before I get into the last follow-up, another good thing that comes from reaching out to people that you probably don't even think about is your customers are your best source of pop-ups, right? So when someone loves their products, they want to share them with other people. They want their friends and family to experience what they're experiencing. So when I'm talking to someone at week 2, this is where I will say something like, if you ever want to do something for your friends and family so that they can experience the products, I can come over and give everyone a free mini facial and introduce them to the products. Very low pressure, very simple, very fun. And when somebody hosts, I always give them a little hostess gift, maybe like the double cleanse method, or, if you're just getting started, go to the dollar store and buy those cute little compact makeup mirrors, the ones that they're kind of like this, and you open it up and it's got the compact. I mean, this is a great little present, and it's like $1. So just has to be thoughtful. And then while I'm at the party, and I think Leah mentioned this as well, I ask everybody the same question. Would you like to do a little something like this for your friends and family? It's called BAP FAP. Has anyone ever heard of that? BAP FAP? BAPFAP. Book a party from a party. So when you are in your parties, from now on, forever and ever moving forward, I want you to think of me and I want you to walk into that party going, BAP FAP, BAP FAP. I'm going to book a party from a party. So it works because people are relaxed. They're experiencing the products. They're excited. So definitely do the BAP FAP. Okay, another thing to keep in mind in terms of the customer care, as I mentioned, there might not be a lot of representatives, but at some point, your customer's sister-in-law is going to join the business under somebody else. I've been in this industry for many, many years. It happens all the time. Or a coworker, her coworker is going to join her best friend from college, right? When that happens, customers are usually going to buy from the person that they feel the most connected to, unless you've given them a real reason to stay with you. You want your customers to know you are their consultant, you are their go-to person, you are the one that actually cares about what happens to them. So the loyalty that we're looking for doesn't happen without intentional follow-up. And another big piece of this with loyal customers are referrals. I got a text yesterday. "Hi, this is Liz, and my friend Sue Ann said I should reach out to you because I want my skin to look like Sue Ann's." Referrals are huge. I let people know right off the bat during one of these follow-up calls that I appreciate referrals and I reward referrals. So I will always do a small thank you gift. For me, it's usually a snow enzyme cleanser, but you need to do what your business can support, but this is a business. Make no mistake. Leah said sometimes with a business, you're not breaking even for 5 years. We are usually breaking even a heck of a lot faster, but sometimes you need to spend a little money to make a little money. And if somebody thinks they're going to get a present when they do a referral, they're far more likely to do a referral. It could be free shipping. You Venmo them next time for the shipping. It could be a discount on their next order. Maybe you pay them back. I always do a rebate because it's not as easy to do a discount. So I always do a rebate via Venmo or PayPal, something simple, but people love to help people, if you have taken care of them. Okay, so here's the bottom line. And I didn't mention, I'm so sorry, I didn't even get I'm looking at my notes. I'm like, I didn't even get to the 2 month follow-up, right? So the 2 month follow-up, unless I did and I'm losing my mind, is where you're checking in to see how the products are going, right? So at that point, they're running out. Month two, I call it dialing for dollars. This is where you're checking in to see how's it going. I mean, people are almost really at the end of the ICD cream at the 2 month period. So at the very least, you're going to get an order for the ICD cream. And it's just a little reminder to order. And then I always talk about other products like, oh my gosh, if you love the skincare, you wait till you try our hair care. I did a 2 month call with my friend Heather the other day, and she's like, Jen, my skin is not tight like yours. I'm experiencing sagging. And I said, well, we can get you into the professional grade line, but what I think might really help is getting you some collagen ampules and start out initially drinking it 2 times a day. Now, I know that that's what they do in South Korea, and it's not cheap. So you probably don't want to do it all the time, but just to get yourself a little boost for a couple of weeks, do it 2 times a day. And that was the tip. And she bought that product. She also bought the Calming Balance Gel. And that was the 2 month call. So that's the dialing for dollars. Okay. So, in summary, keep the relationships tight, follow up, let people know you appreciate them, do the 1-2-2 method, because people don't leave products, they leave when they feel forgotten, when they feel like maybe the relationship is more transactional. Customer care is going to keep customers around so much longer. It's going to increase reorders, it's going to increase referrals, and it's going to increase pop-ups. It protects our income as the remon market grows, and this is how you build a business that lasts. So thank you, everyone. That is my deal on customer service and follow up. So now I want to turn it over to my friend Lori